your world around you is not ready to talk about it, don't wait for them. I have no shame to tell you today in front of 50 people and more, because we're live somewhere on Facebook, I believe. And I still remember the day I had my periods. So, this one is a tale from France. I was born in France, thousands of miles away from where I live now, which is Kolkata. So I'm geographically close to most of you here on this call. And it's been now 2 years that I live in Kolkata. Before I lived for my first 25 years in France. I was born in the capital of France, which is called Paris, and I lived in the suburbs, 10 kilometers away from Paris. And I still remember the day I had my periods. Funnily enough, actually, periods in French is called règles, which means rules. I will comment on that later, but it's an interesting fact, I guess. And I do remember the day I had my periods. I was 12 years old, and it was Christmas Day for some reason. I don't know. I guess the world or the universe wanted me to know that periods were a gift more than anything else. Yeah? And I'm also here to tell you today that periods do not need to be stressful. They do not need to be a big deal. They are made stressful and they're made a big deal because there are taboo around. Some other storytellers before me said that maybe sometimes, for some reason, society makes you feel ashamed of talking about periods. Maybe they're a bit painful sometimes on your stomach. But they do not need to be a big deal in your lives. On that day, when I had my periods, it was Christmas Day. It was a beautiful day, as I was just expecting to live through an experience through Christmas like every year. It did not ruin it at all. It made me actually quite happy to have grown as a step further into womanhood. And I think I was also lucky to have had mainly two things. And I hope you all have that with you. The first one is a mom that you can talk to. And I'm sure most of you would have that. And don't hesitate, as Priyanka was saying earlier, don't hesitate to go and ask questions. Don't hesitate to contribute to breaking the taboo within your home, starting within your home. And so I was lucky enough to have a mom who just handed me a sanitary pad that day and taught me how to put it on my panties. And the day went on the way it would have gone through even if I hadn't have my period that day. That's the first thing you should have. Try to establish the conversation with your family, especially with your mom. Of course, you may wish that you could talk to everyone, but more practically, it is sometimes easier to talk to a woman that has gone through the same. And the second thing you should arm yourself with is even just one friend. It can be a boy, it can be a girl, just one friend that does not have any taboo on the same as well. I remember endless conversations with my best friend. Doesn't need to be a lot, just your best friend, a friend that you can very freely talk about the blood that comes out of you every month. And there's nothing wrong about it. As was said before, it's a natural process. It's like breathing. It's like your heart beating. It's like a tree growing. It's like sweat on guys and girls. It's just as simple as that. And therefore, back to my conclusion, it does not have to be a big deal. It does not have to be a problem. Actually, just like the title of this session, P for positive, it is a rather positive process, right? I heard tales from India, which seems to be a country that considers periods are as impure. And to me, coming from France, it was very hard to understand that, because to me, periods are the purest process you can think about. It allows life to be brought about when you're taller and you want to have kids. It allows life, literally. So it is not impure. It is the purest process. It is not unfortunate. It is complete luck. It is a sign of health. It's good for you to have your periods. It's healthy. For most girls, it is not even a painful process. It depends on the month, and it's okay. Sometimes mine hurt as well a little bit, but most months I'm lucky enough that it's just a painless process. You don't necessarily become grumpy, All of these ideas about periods are established to some extent by science, but in some cases, if not most cases, the day where you will have your periods, and every day you will have your periods in your life, will and should be exactly like a day where you don't have your periods. It should not make any difference for you. And it won't make any difference for you if you perceive yourself, the process of periods are as being a positive one. To some extent, I also want to say that not only does it say that we are magical, just like Liliane was saying earlier, we are magical, absolutely. We bleed and we don't die out of it. It's magic. But also, very concretely, I believe that it provides us with skills like time management skills, like organizational skills. You have to have that pace every month. You know where you are, you know your timeline. Probably guys don't have that kind of time management and organizational skills. And also, I believe it makes us more resilient to challenges. It is not new under the sun that, on average, although no generalization is possible, women accept and go through a little bit of pain or challenges more smoothly or more easily than most men. So it is just another day. It should be like just another day. And even if your world around you is not ready to talk about it, don't wait for them. Talk about it yourself. Talk about it within yourself. You should build your own story about periods. People who tell you that this is a weird process, this is disgusting, this is impure, you don't need to listen to them. You may just as much create your own positive story about how magical and how strong you will get from that process, and how strong you are about that process. It is a positive story. It really is. It's just a matter of perception and building your own story about it. Just to build on the idea of sometimes people saying, it is disgusting, it smells bad. I'm going very concretely here, sorry about that, but there's no taboo about it. Isn't it sweat a bit smelly sometimes? Don't you touch your sweat? Isn't it part of your body? I have no shame to tell you today in front of 50 people and more, because we're live somewhere on Facebook, I believe, that I touch my blood every I have to touch it because of the periods process every month, and it's not disgusting. It's coming out of you, and therefore you should have respect for that, and you should accept it as much as each and every part of your body and everything that comes out of it. It's okay. So build your own story about it. It really is a positive one. Change your own perception about it. Talk about it within yourself. Convince yourself that this is not a hurdle, but this is a positive magic. And then you will be force of change out of yourself, with your friends that do not know what it is yet, with your friends that do not exactly know how to perceive it, with your family that might have some taboos and somehow feel uncomfortable talking about it. Talk about it within yourself positively, because it's really not a big deal, and then you can talk it outside.